This is CNN.
A setback for Mikhail Gorbachev in his bid to prevent a total collapse of the Soviet Union, a split that could be explosive. Yugoslav federal troops celebrate success in battles marring the latest ceasefire. And a sharper image now is available on television sets in Japan. It's a new age in television that may change what you see on your screen. Welcome to our viewers around the world. I'm Catherine Crier. Frank Snesno is off today. Leaders of the Soviet republics are divided on a treaty meant to hold their country together, a treaty some officials believe could prevent civil war. 7 republic leaders were expected to endorse the pact for a looser political union today, but they did not. Instead, they decided to let their legislatures consider the document. A report now from CNN's Eileen O'Connor.
For Mikhail Gorbachev, the political union he so desperately hopes to preserve was seemingly within reach. Yet his hopes were dashed by the realities of democracy.
I see that there is a great deal of pressure on my colleagues from different sides, which places under doubt the advisability of maintaining the state.
The treaty will limit central control to international affairs, strategic nuclear arms, and the coordination of economic policy. It also calls for a president elected by the people. Gorbachev says such an agreement is a must.
The country and society are in such a state that we must move the process forward.
It is the prospect of economic and ethnic division, like that in Armenia and Azerbaijan, which Gorbachev hopes to avoid through even a loose confederation of states. The meeting of republic leaders did come up with a proposal to end the bloodshed, at least temporarily, in that region.
I propose that a 5-kilometer no-man's land should be set up under the auspices of Union forces to prevent the fighters from taking actions and thereby endangering the lives of people.
While Gorbachev tried to put a brave face on things, the fact remains any agreements reached so far are only proposals.
It is not just a question of if the Union Treaty gets signed, but who signs it. Without powerful republics like the Ukraine, this new union of sovereign states will be a union in name only. Eileen O'Connor, CNN, Moscow.
The Space Shuttle Atlantis put a spy satellite in Earth orbit today. NASA lifted a veil of secrecy applied to past military missions and broadcast tape of the launch from Atlantis Cargo Bay. A rocket later propelled the massive satellite even deeper into space to better detect missile attacks and nuclear tests on Earth. A brilliant nighttime launch got the Atlantis mission underway. The 6-man shuttle crew plans to monitor military movements on Earth as part of a Pentagon experiment during its 10 days in orbit. Despite reservations, it appears Israel may attend the next round of Middle East peace talks set to start next week in Washington. The Bush administration proposed the bilaterals last week. In effect, invitations were extended before Israel was consulted, a move that angered the government of Prime Minister Yitzhak Shamir. One cabinet minister likened it to an ultimatum from Washington, but today Israeli's industry minister says Jerusalem may participate if later talks are held in the Middle East. The U.S. State Department says Mr. Shamir's own comments indicate his willingness to participate.
He himself says that he does not have a principled problem with this. He himself says, and I refer you to his transcript, how important it is and how very much Israel wants these talks to go forward. So I don't really think that there is a problem here. He expressed on behalf of his government what their views were and their intentions were, and so I have every reason to believe that this will work itself out.
Responses have been slow in coming. So far, only Lebanon and Jordan have said they will attend the December 4th talks. Former U.S. hostage Thomas Sutherland is back in the United States. He flew from Germany to Dallas today and is due in San Francisco in about 4 hours. Sutherland and his wife will spend the Thanksgiving holiday with a daughter in Berkeley. Before leaving the airport in Frankfurt, Germany, Sutherland recounted his strategy for surviving his 6 years of captivity.
I suppose when you're in a difficult situation like that, either you can go into a great depression and feel sorry for yourself and decide that there's nothing you can do about it, or you can fight it, and as Terry Anderson just encouraged us all the time to do, let's keep active and keep our minds going. And so he would dream up so many things for us to do.
Terry Anderson is one of 5 Western hostages still held in Lebanon. Sutherland and former British hostage Terry Waite say their captors have promised to release the 3 U.S. and 2 German captives by the end of the year. Over the weekend, British rock singer Freddie Mercury told the world he was ill with AIDS. Like Magic Johnson, who revealed he had the virus that causes AIDS, Mercury decided to go public. But unlike Johnson, Mercury kept his illness a secret until the day before it killed him. Mercury died yesterday in London. That's where Harry Smith reports.
As one of the most spectacular performers in the business, Freddie Mercury has stayed at the top of rock for 2 decades. It was the hit single Bohemian Rhapsody which first made his name with its unique combination of musical styles. But he was also one of the great live performers who could draw huge crowds to concerts the world over.
Freddie gave that frontman position so much flamboyance, so much character. He was better than almost any other performer in holding a live audience in the palm of his hand.
At Mercury's West London home, there's been a steady stream of fans paying tribute. As his health deteriorated, he'd been living in his £5 million mansion as a virtual recluse. He publicly announced that he had AIDS just the day before he died.
I don't think Freddie Mercury waited that long to tell his friends and his family, and those are the important people who needed to know. For the rest of us, we should remember him for his music and not for his health and his AIDS diagnosis.
God knows, I've fallen in love.
Despite his success and enormous wealth, he confessed to being a very lonely figure. He made no secret of his many lovers, both male and female, but could never find a lasting relationship.
And when we come back, a better television picture not only sounds nice, it could be big business worldwide. We'll have a look. And at the bottom of the hour, CNN's Wolf Blitzer takes a look at the Pearl Harbor codes. Could the attack have been prevented? Stay with us.
At Value Right Pharmacies, you'll always find great American values, just like these. Add a little Braun to your holiday gift list. The Braun 10-cup coffee maker is $29.99. Or pick up the #1 selling foil shaver in the world, the Braun razor with cord. Or shave another item off your gift list with a rechargeable Braun razor, just $49.99. Look in the yellow pages for participating Value Right Pharmacies. There's one near you.
Ever wonder why Bay's English muffins taste so good? Here's why. Spring wheat flour and whole milk from Minnesota. Sugar from Hawaii. Butter from Wisconsin. Potato flour from Idaho. Bay's flavor is locked in by the finest packaging available. Bay's English muffins. In your grocer's dairy case. Bay's.
Your dentist told you about plaque, but you didn't listen. You need the new Braun Oral-B Plaque Remover. It removes plaque, just like your dentist wants you to.
That shelf should hold now, Doc.
The Braun Oral-B Plaque Remover.
Wish you could be in 2 places at once this Thanksgiving. You can. Send the FDD Autumn Harvest Bouquet. It's a great way to be there, whether you're there or not.
It's as easy as FTD.
Tonight, the name, the allegations, the most talked about trial of the year. How will William Kennedy Smith defend himself against sexual assault charges? On CNN's The World Today, 6 p.m. Eastern tonight.
The future of television is clear, or at least clearer. That's according to officials from the Japanese television industry who christened that country's foray into high-definition television today. For the next 3 years, they'll be test broadcasting 8 hours of HDTV programming a day. The new technology produces images with more than twice the scanning lines of conventional television, meaning a clearer picture. Digital audio technology will also make possible compact disc quality sound. For now, the audience is limited, mostly because high-definition sets cost about $30,000 each. Japanese companies will exhibit HDTV at the Barcelona Olympics next year and hope to make it more widely affordable by the 1996 Summer Games in Atlanta. U.S. companies are still a few years away from introducing the technology. And our New York bureau to help us tune into this breakthrough is Philip Elmer-Dewitt, a technology expert with Time magazine. Thanks for being here. Why all the fuss about this technology, particularly at this tremendous cost?
Well, it's really a fuss about television for the next century. The television set market is about a $500 billion industry, and right now it's dominated by the Japanese. The Japanese are proposing to bring in the next generation of television picture, and the question is, are they just going to take over the market like they took over the last one?
Well, what about the cost of these sets? Are people going to pay $30,000 for a, quote, clearer picture?
Obviously not. $35,000 actually, and a VCR, HDTV VCR is over $100,000. But to make it a mass market, they'd have to build enough sets that the price would come down. And they're talking about bringing it down to $7,000 a set within the next few years. Clearly, it's not going to be something that you and I would buy till it comes down to something close to $1,000 or less.
Well, there's another question. You get this wonderful television, this great picture, and what goes in it. Can regular programming be run through this set?
Well, you can run anything through it, but you've got the, once you've set up to do HDTV, you can send anything you want through it. But so you could do all the regular news and entertainment and so forth. But you do have to, a broadcaster who wanted to do HDTV would have to throw out all his existing equipment and completely gear up with the new technology. So it's not something that people are going to do lightly, and it's not something that broadcasters are going to do lightly.
So to get the quality programming, you literally have to create it with all of the new technology.
That's right.
How expensive is it to actually create a program to then put on the television set?
I'm not a broadcaster. I believe it's tens of millions of dollars to gear up for it. But independently, some movie makers and broadcasters are doing that already. The current standard for making movies is 35 millimeter film, and in some ways HDTV is cheaper and more versatile than 35 millimeter film. So today you do have movies being made in HDTV, even though they're either shown in film or broadcast over conventional television. So part of that process has already started, and to some extent it is inevitable. The current technology for television will be replaced. What we're arguing about is when and with what particular technology. It's not at all clear it's going to be the technology that the Japanese are showing today.
Well, one of the things that sort of comes in the interim oftentimes with technology is adaptions. Is there any adapter for current televisions that would allow this kind of programming to be run on our sets?
Not on our sets. I understand that there is an adapter for Japanese sets. It costs something like $1,700 a set, and you end up seeing the same old quality television. I mean, you can see it allows you to see the HDTV broadcasts that they're making now, but you see them with the old resolution. In other words, the same old crummy picture.
We talked about one of the questions being who will have the technology that ultimately succeeds. Who else has HDTV technology besides the Japanese?
Well, the Europeans and the Americans are both developing their own technology after having basically fought a political battle to make sure that the Japanese didn't get their technology into Europe or into the U.S. And the FCC is currently reviewing bids in order to set a standard for U.S. HDTV. The interesting thing that's going on now is that the Americans are pursuing what they call all-digital HDTV, and the Japanese have developed what's called analog HDTV. And what they're looking at in the U.S. is in many ways superior to the Japanese, and it may be possible that we will, by delaying and going to HDTV later, we may end up with a better HDTV than the Japanese have.
Well, now, could it be a situation, though, where the Japanese present their product now and essentially are able to corner the market?
They won't be able to do that in the U.S. because the U.S. has decided to set a standard that the Japanese system can't meet. The Japanese system takes up too much space in the bandwidth, to use the technical jargon, to fit into the existing broadcast spectrum in the U.S. So the Japanese system has effectively been blocked. The more relevant question is, once the U.S. has decided on its standard, who will sell the sets that meet that standard, and it will be, once that standard is set, it'll be an all-out race to build the TV sets to meet it. And the Japanese are in many ways much better positioned than either the Europeans or the Americans to win that race. So it may be that we have our own American HDTV, but we end up buying Japanese sets anyway.
Well, you say this is inevitable. Finally, then, what's the timetable on this in the United States and worldwide in terms of the consumer really being able to afford the product and use the product?
I would guess that it's the year will start with the number 2. It'll be sometime in the next century before these are widely available.
Philip Elmer-Dewitt, thank you very much
Thank
for
you for
joining
having
us.
me.
And still ahead, violence and death at a prison in Northern Ireland. And at the half hour, a special report on Pearl Harbor. Our guest will include General Colin Powell, Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff.
It feels as refreshing as it looks. The new shower massage from Teledyne Waterpick.
Have you had your V8 today? Did you know that V8 juice has more vitamins A and C than that tossed salad? Wow! V8 is a nutritious blend of 8 vegetable juices that taste terrific. Have you had your V8 today?
Here is another investment idea from the financial funds. If capital growth is your investment goal, call 800-525-8085 to learn more about our Financial Industrial Fund, one of the nation's oldest mutual funds. Financial Industrial Fund invests in carefully selected companies with better than average earnings growth potential. For 56 years, the fund has looked for opportunities in industries that may benefit from the predicted economic environment. Founded in 1935, Financial Industrial Fund has not missed a quarterly dividend in all that time. While past performance is not a guarantee of future results, we think this is a pretty remarkable record. For further information on Financial Industrial Fund, including a prospectus with information on management fees and expenses, call us at 800-525-8085. Please read the prospectus carefully before investing or sending money. The Financial Funds, investment professionals since 1932. Call now, 800-525-8085.
Tonight, the name, the allegations, the most talked about trial of the year. How will William Kennedy Smith defend himself against sexual assault charges? On CNN's The World Today, 6 p.m. Eastern tonight.
Still bitter exchanges in Yugoslavia despite another ceasefire. The 14th ceasefire in Yugoslavia's civil war appears to be holding everywhere but in the Croatian city of Osijek. The Yugoslav army's been pounding Osijek with artillery and rocket barrages for nearly a week, forcing residents to remain in basements and underground shelters. In turn, the federal army has accused Croatian forces of shelling nearby Serbian villages. The UN says peacekeeping troops won't be sent to Yugoslavia unless all the guns are silent. In Moscow today, Soviet Foreign Minister Eduard Shevardnadze said his government would support sending UN troops to maintain peace in Yugoslavia. Now some other headlines from around the world. In California, some flames still whip across the hills near Los Angeles, part of a brush fire that was declared contained this morning. The blaze charged more than 1,000 acres, including sections of the freeway. More than 100 residents were forced to evacuate. No serious injuries or widespread damage to buildings are reported. A U.S. district judge has extended a ban on returning Haitian refugees to their homeland as lawyers and the government continue talks on the fate of the boat people. The Coast Guard has picked up more than 4,500 Haitians fleeing their homeland after a military coup. The U.S. contends most of the Haitians are fleeing for economic reasons and aren't eligible for asylum. At a South Carolina nuclear power plant, workers released slightly radioactive gas into the air today that allowed them to safely enter a containment building and investigate a spill of radioactive water. The water leaked at the plant early on Saturday. Officials say today's release of gas poses no threat to workers or the public. Poland's first freely elected parliament since the 1940s convened today in Warsaw. President Lech Wałęsa called it an achievement for which generations of Poles fought. The center-right coalition showed early strength in electing the Speaker of the House. And right-wing candidates were big winners in Belgium's parliament elections yesterday. With its boxing gloves and out-of-self-defense slogan, the Flemish bloc picked up 10 more seats in Parliament. The party advocates returning non-European immigrants to their homelands. Well, it was supposed to be one of Northern Ireland's most secure prisons, but a bomb blast yesterday killed 1 inmate and injured 8 other people. Andrew Simmons reports on the latest in a series of violent incidents at the prison in Belfast.
A major security breach led to the bombing in the dining hall of the jail. It's believed that Republican prisoners planted a device containing 8 ounces of Semtex behind a radiator. Prison service officials say regulations don't permit the internal examination of women visitors, and it's believed the explosives were inside condoms smuggled into the prison. The government responded by announcing a security investigation, along with an inquiry which will review the policy of integrating Loyalist and Republican prisoners in the jail.
And so far as prisoner management at Belfast Prison is concerned, very much a responsibility of ministers, I have announced that an inquiry is being set up.
Lord Belstead refused to answer resignation calls by unionists who say Loyalist and Republican prisoners shouldn't have been integrated.
The government should have been aware and should have been dealing with it in a more appropriate fashion.
The Loyalist prisoner killed in the blast was Robert Skay, whose common-law wife gave her reaction.
I was at the prison about half an hour ago. I was talking to the governor.
What was he able to say?
And I asked him how something like this would happen inside a prison. They didn't get no answers.
What are your feelings about the people who planted the bomb?
I hate them.
7 hours after the bombing, Catholic James McCaffrey was shot dead as he was driving away from a Chinese restaurant in South Belfast on a delivery run. It's believed he was murdered by Loyalists in reprisal for the jail bombing. Andrew Simmons, ITN, Belfast.
It's time now for a check of the day's financial news with Beverly Schuch at the New York Stock Exchange. Beth?
Thanks, Catherine. Stocks are zigzagging today on Wall Street. The Dow Jones Industrial Average reversed a 19-point loss with 12-point gain, but right now it is in the minus column again. The Dow Jones Industrial Average is down more than 7 points at 2895. It keeps crossing that 2900 level. Volume still active. 149 million shares have traded hands so far. Decliners outpacing advances by a 5-to-3 ratio. And on the broader and secondary markets, the 4 key indexes all posting losses all day. Oil prices are holding steady as OPEC members gather for their semi-annual meeting in Vienna this week. Oil industry watchers predict the cartel will keep the status quo on production levels. Right now in New York trading, a barrel of light sweet crude is up 13 cents, selling for $21.34 a barrel. And stocks in Tokyo suffering their worst losing streak in 23 years. The Nikkei average lost ground for the 9th straight session last night, down 248 points, about 1% of its value, closing below the 23,000 mark. And we will be back with another update in 1 hour with Wall Street's closing numbers. I'm Beverly Schuch reporting live from the New York Stock Exchange.
Thanks, Beverly. There's more to come, including a look at London's latest partners in fighting crime and our special report on missed warnings of the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor. Stay with us.
From any angle, it feels as refreshing as it looks. A new shower massage from Teledyne Waterpick.
Olympic Team Collection, a triumph of time from Seiko, the official timer of the games of the 25th Olympiad. Seiko, the measure of greatness. We have so much to celebrate. Corbel Champagne.
Tonight, it's the start of the holiday eating season. Richard Simmons will tell us how to enjoy all that turkey without ending up looking like one. Meet him tonight on Larry King Live, 9 Eastern on CNN.
British authorities are deploying a unit of 6'7" crime fighters who will never blink in the fight against holiday thievery. Vernon Mann reports on the new breed of Bobby.
The plastic policemen stand 6'7" tall and cost £95 each. Today they were carried to the shopping centre for their first tour of duty, much to the amusement of passing shoppers. Most police forces are stretched at this time of the year. Anything that might help reduce crime is worth a try.
We would obviously like more police officers, but these are in no way supposed to be a substitute for policemen. They are a crime prevention initiative. It's better than having a poster.
For some years now, we have had a special team of both uniform and plainclothes officers patrolling the area leading up to Christmas in an attempt to reduce this sort of crime. And these guys are here to help them.
It's hoped they'll put shoplifters off shoplifting and make shoppers more careful.
Choose authority.
You're going to put people off shoplifting, you think?
No.
Well, he's supposed to put people off shoplifting. Do you think he will?
No.
Why not?
It's only a plastic policeman, and you want the real one, won't you?
Behind every plastic policeman, there is a serious message. Crime does increase at Christmas. Police hope that this chap will help cut the crime rate. The police say they're really cut out for the job. They're cliché. Local cynics reckon they're more likely to walk out in somebody else's hands well before Christmas. Vernon Mann, ITN, Bristol.
Well, it is almost Thanksgiving, which means Christmas can't be far behind. Earlier today, First Lady Barbara Bush put the main ornament on top of the national Christmas tree. The tree is located on the ellipse across from the White House. And that's our abbreviated version of the International Hour, but stay with us. CNN's Wolf Blitzer takes a look at 50 years later, new evidence about Japan's attack on Pearl Harbor.
We have so much to celebrate. Corbel Champagne.
It's gone. But it isn't.
Vicks introduces an incredible new cough drop.
It's gone, but it isn't.
A cough drop so powerful, it keeps on working even after the drop is gone. It's extra strength Vicks, a new kind of Vicks with twice the Vicks vapor medicine to relieve your cough and help your scratchy throat and stuffy nose feel better, even after the drop is gone. New extra strength Vicks, extra strong to work.
Even after it's gone.
International Hour continues, followed by Early Prime after this local commercial break. Next on CNN.
You're gonna see the light. We're gonna see you through. You know we do things right. We're always there for you. The world keeps rearranging. One thing's never changing.
Wherever Iowans gather, more are covered by the plans of Blue Cross and Blue Shield than any other.
Don't you know it's true? You just can't beat the blues.
1,050 people on the line. 1,050 people on the line right now.
This is a deal.
At this very moment, you could be missing out on the most remarkable sales event ever. The Home Shopping Club Bargathon.
Wonderful. I think it's fantastic. I think it's the most fantastic buy.
Bargathon, where prices keep dropping and dropping.
When I saw this, I just really flipped.
You could be missing a Bargathon right now. Why wait? Tune in Home Shopping Club now and get in on the sale of a lifetime.